Yo! Welcome to another episode of Under the Surface, a talk show where we talk all things Bazaar. Today we will talk about a couple of cool things we noticed while playing the new patch. And also we will tell you about some fun new features. This is not going to be a comprehensive list, so check out full patch notes in the description. But for now, let's dive under the surface. Today we are talking about our first impressions of the new patch. And we have listed a couple of things that we would like to mention, but don't worry, we would like to make separate videos where we will cover those things that we want to list today in more detail. Like, we want to expand on those things. To start off, new level ups are insane, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that the rewards are more or less of the same power and they always grant you something useful. For now, I have not yet encountered a situation where I feel that nothing in that pool of rewards is useful for me. Because in the previous patch, sometimes you were just picking the lesser evil.
Yeah, that happened constantly in the last patch, even with like five options or whatever. So this, I was a little worried about the set because now there's skill vendors and rewards and everything. I was a little worried, and they're all set to, you know what you're getting every single level.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of worried about that because I liked a little bit of the random because I think it could make your runs feel more unique.
I mean,
but I was wrong. I'm just gonna say I was wrong. This is way better.
Well, to be fair, it's still random enough because, for example, like in your first level up, you're getting a bronze skill. But it's not like everybody gets the same bronze skill. You are getting 4 bronze skills to choose from, right? And
yeah,
on top of that, all those skills are, well, maybe not all of them, but most of the skills are buffed. And they have been buffed to the nth degree. Like, for example, the bronze skill that said your leftmost items has plus X damage. In the previous patch, on the bronze level, it gave you like +3, +4, +3, I think.
Yeah, it was 3.
Yeah, and now it gives +20.
Yeah, like, I mean, before the bronze skills, like, you could not pick them up and not feel the difference, you know? And now they actually do something. They're actually strong, like kind of strong, I mean, especially for early game.
Well, there were a couple that were useful that did more than the others, but now I think not getting a skill is much more detrimental to your power than it was before. But as players are usually getting roughly the same number of skills through the run, I think nobody is going to be particularly unhappy about that, because there's always going to be a chance for you to get a skill that's going to help you out in some capacity. But
yeah,
because the skills were buffed and the item reworks, I think combined into extremely power-heavy meta. The power level of the game, oh boy, yeah, skyrocketed.
Yeah, I feel like it has to. And there's so many like infinite, this is a kind of a different thing, but there's so many infinite combos too. So that's kind of makes it feel like towards the end, everybody's build is just completely insane. Like even earlier than used to be the case.
Yeah, but on the other hand, like that, it's something that I touched upon in a haste video. Like when everybody's hasted, nobody is, and in this case, when everybody's overpowered, nobody is. If everybody has infinite combos and like infinite shielding and infinite damage, well, I guess that's a level playing field, sort of.
It's like if everything's overpowered, nothing's overpowered. Like how some games have that ideology.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple builds where I'm like, this is insane. Like this is an insane build so early in the game, and then I still lose every fight after because everybody else is so powerful. I think another reason for that is the enchants you get at level 10 now instead of, what was it, 16 or something?
Yes. Yeah, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think getting enchantments is slightly more common right now. But that is my speculation. Level ups, super fun. Kill buffs, super fun. And in general, the game, for me, right now, is extremely fun because, like, the power fantasy has been cranked to 11. And, well, everybody has insane builds now, so even if I lose to something silly like Boulder that goes off in 6 seconds, well, I'm still having fun, actually. Maybe that's like the honeymoon phase of the new patch. If I'm having fun, I have no problem with the game, at least for now.
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel like the game has went from like, I mean, I thought it was good before,
Yeah,
but I feel like I'm playing the Bazaar 2 now.
Yeah,
You know?
they are definitely polishing the rough edges on the game. Like, the idea is still the same. The basis hasn't really changed. They realized, because of the extensive testing that we have provided, that some things can be exploited, some things can provide unequal playing field. There are some situations where players can get frustrated, and I think the game has been smoothed over a bit. Yeah, we mentioned level ups, we mentioned skill buffs. Rerolls are back in the game. Who would have known? And I think that's fun. I'm getting constantly shafted by that because I forget that they are not 3 gold every time.
Yeah.
So I keep forgetting that if you are at a like gold merchant, it's going to cost, I think, 6.
It scales based on the encounter level, right? So
Yeah.
it's like diamond is 8, I think.
Gold is 6,
Yeah, so
the silver is 4, and bronze is 2.
I think this is a way better way to do it. I would have never thought about this either, but because not having rerolls felt bad, but having them all at 3 feels like too easy to.
Yeah, I think that's a good halfway measure. I mean, we're going to see how this plays out, but we were complaining before that we had too much gold. Well, we're going back to being poor.
Yeah.
When we are in the topic of merchants, Grand Society of Merchants has new effects, and I mean, those effects were teased for the longest time. They are finally in the game. So how do you like them?
I mean, you probably noticed it in game that every single one of the merchants from the Grand Society they sell a type of item or 2 types of items, but they don't sell the type of item they like. So like Mizworth, he wants a mid-size medium item. You know, he sells small and large, I think, right? So you want to sell him a medium-sized item now, and you'll get an extra 2 gold. Quixel wants large items, she'll give you extra 3, right? And Barcoon wants small items, and he'll give you an extra 1 gold for them. So now there's sort of this weird like inventory management aspect to it, because you really want to hold every item as long as humanly possible in case you find that merchant, and then you can, double the value.
I mean, I wouldn't hold on to your whole equipment for the longest time, but like, if you can get more for your items, then I mean, you're getting an advantage.
Yeah.
But there are also a couple of things that work in the merchants themselves. Like, for example, Barcoon sells you medium items or large items. So a medium item is, for example, a safe or a piñata. And wouldn't you know, when you sell a safe or a piñata, you get a couple of small items. And now those small items are going to be worth 1 more. That's a indirect buff.
Yeah, and you need the money. You need the money this patch. So I find myself like getting chocolate bars or gumballs, and if I have the space, I'm leaving them in case I do see Barcoon, for example.
That's a nice tech.
Yeah, I mean, it can be helpful. It doesn't happen often, though. Sometimes you're like, well, never saw him.
Also, when we are still on the topic of merchants, there's a new merchant, new encounter. I'm not sure how it is categorized, but we have Hadi, a sort of magic peddler bunny.
Yeah, and I think it's just an encounter. This is probably my favorite. I mean, maybe favorite thing in the game is a bit extreme, but this is so cool. Like the animation, the music, the gambling aspect of it is
right.
It is just like every time you see it, you just want to click on it, and it's good. A few different things we can do. We're not sure of every option, but like you can get a skill. You can get this top hat. It's a unique item. It's a medium item. I think it's diamond. And whenever you sell it, it upgrades your leftmost item, which is huge, of course. I think you get an enchantment, gold, maybe a special skill that only Hadi offers, but we're not really sure because neither of us have gotten it. But that's what it looks like from the wheel, at least. So, and then there's a special present. I don't know what that is either.
Yeah, but our guesses are that looking from the left, there's gold piles, so we assume that's going to be a couple of pieces of gold. Then going clockwise, there's probably a random skill. Next, there's probably a skill that's unique to Hadi, then a gift, so most likely a random item. Then something that looks like a magic wand, so we thought that this might be a random enchantment or something, but I have no idea. And Blake can confirm that this hat is in fact this upgrading item because, well, he received it. But
And it's beautiful.
yeah, if you, dear viewers, met Hadi, you have met Hadi and you got a reward, please tell us what was it and what you have received, so we can, piece together some informations regarding what Hadi does exactly.
One more thing I want to say about this encounter that I think is more general is that the polish on this encounter, like the effects, the everything, it makes me so excited for the future of this game, because imagine how many like insane encounters are going to be there, a year from now, when they add ones in mid-season patches, that sort of thing. I don't know, it just gets me super excited. It feels so different from anything else in the game.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I didn't think about this at first, but now you mention it, like this is completely unique in terms of like encounters that we already have in the game. Like usually we have either like a row of items or like some sort of like magic balls that when clicked grant us an item or a skill or whatever. But this is completely new UI. I assume they have plans for adding stuff like that in the future.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, I would think for sure, but I thought this was even overkill to have it in this early in the game because it's probably a lot of work to get this thing going.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that people were, I think, anticipating the most were replays and recaps, and now we have them in the game. Which, if you have been following Reddit, I think you're fully aware. Replays, well, as the name suggests, you can click replay button after a fight and you can see it again. However, recaps are much more interesting because after a fight, you can click on a little magnifying glass and you will see, first of all, your board and your opponent's board, and on every item there will be listed damage, healing, shielding, whatever that item did during the fight. You will see how much of it gave you or gave your opponent or whatever. If a weapon dealt 400 damage, you will see that. If a shielded bushel gave you like 2 million shield, well, you'll know that.
Sometimes too, like before this was implemented, you would have an opinion about like what did the most whatever on your board, and whenever you look at the recap or whatever, now you kind of realize like, oh, like this is like putting in way more work than I thought it was. This specific item, it really helps a lot with making your builds more efficient, I guess.
Yeah, players are now more informed to the effectiveness of their items. This is definitely going to push the ingenuity of some theory crafters much further. Did we mention enchantments yet? Like how they work now?
The only thing we mentioned was that they show up at day 10.
So enchantments have been sort of reworked / buffed this patch. Most items now won't get flat number of, for example, healing, shielding whenever they are, enchanted. Now they will scale with their base values. So I mentioned a shielded bushel a second ago. Whenever a bushel goes off, it gives you a bit of healing. But if that bushel is shielded, then it will give the same amount of shielding as well. So if you can buff healing on that bushel, the shielding will also go up. But if you can, increase both of those at the same time, let's say with a Ganjo, then Ganjo is like twice as effective. Also, that would apply to weapons. So let's say your katana is restorative, so now it will essentially have lifesteal, maybe even better than lifesteal because it will also remove poison and burn stacks.
Way back in the day, like 2 months ago or something, we talked about
that's
enchantments.
ages ago.
It's ages ago in the Bazaar. We talked about how a lot of enchantments, it's like just find the item that has the shortest cooldown. That's no longer the case. Thank God, because
Yeah.
now it actually feels like you're enchanting that item and not just getting an extra proc of like heal or something.
Yeah.
So
But one thing that needs to be mentioned regarding the most OP enchantment, which is freezing, it no longer will increase targets on your items, in the sense that that icy enchantment on already freezing item won't increase the number of targets it can freeze. It will only increase the duration, which is still pretty strong, but it's not busted. So I
yeah,
think players can rejoice.
I think they did that to slope too, didn't they? It doesn't do
Yeah,
an extra.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's better, but it kind of hurts a little bit inside.
What doesn't hurt inside, I think, is well, first of all, like we have new art, we have monster rebalance, so those are cool things. I won't get into that right now. You will probably notice that when you play the game. There are also new VFX. Like, for example, Charge has this little lightning bolts going around the border of the item, which I think is cool. I think you also mentioned that that's cool animation.
Yeah, I love that. It looks so much more polished.
Yeah, but if you have watched the patch overview from Reynard, he said that he feels that animation is too busy. I haven't felt that, but I mean, if he has better one that is being cooked by his art team, then, well, sure, I'm all about the better animations, but like, this is fine.
I think it looks good. I don't have any problem. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe the next one will blow us out of the water.
Yeah, as I said, I don't mind. Like, if he has something better, go for it. But like, right now, it's completely reasonable. Okay, yeah, one last thing of clearly positive aspects of the game. The shadow of the font has been reduced. I don't know, the first time I saw those new shadows, I had this, like, it may sound stupid, but I felt like those letters or numbers were like carved out of marble instead of just made in Windows clip art.
Whenever they changed them, and I guess it was the last patch, I thought, I instantly was like, oh, and then I kind of got used to it and
Yeah,
forgot that I didn't like them. And then this came out, I was like, oh man, I hated those last ones. This is so much better.
yeah, they look more clean, definitely.
Yeah.
We are now coming to the most heated topic of this patch, I think. Animations. Animations now are smoother. Flow of animations and how they interact with each other, their sequencing is cleaner, definitely. Like,
Yeah.
it's satisfying to watch all those swishes and swooshes of wind, sand, like maps rolling out, whatever you think of, it looks impeccable.
But they ruined the game. Like, it's unplayable.
No!
No, it's slower, and everybody's complaining that it's too slow. And maybe there's a little bit of truth to that, but I would have never thought that. When I'm playing, I've never thought like, oh my God, this is taking forever.
Nah,
I
you know
don't
what?
know.
The only thing that I think should be addressed in terms of this slowness of the game is that the last gamble you buy stays on the board for a bit too long, because you click it, you get that gamble, but the orb of light is still on the board, so you think, oh, maybe
Yeah.
there's one more to buy, but there's not. So you click it a bunch of times, and it doesn't give you a gamble, so you think that something broke, and then the map comes back in, and so you're like, wait, so what happened? That little part, I think, could be smoothed over, but the rest of it, smooth as butter.
There's a couple things like, yeah, like you said, like, that could be a little snappier, but like, I don't know. There's some people who I've seen, I don't want to call anybody out, but I've been watching a few streamers, and there was a couple that were acting like this ruined the game, and it feels like garbage to play now.
Right.
And I don't know, but I have to, that's insane behavior.
I mean,
like, what?
I would assume that their brains simply have rotted out because of TikTok, and now they cannot, focus for a bit. I don't know. Like, this seems like an insane take. Like, on Reddit, on every other post, you can see at least one comment that says that game is now borderline unplayable.
Like, I can respect if you think it is too slow. Okay, I can like respect that, but it's not that different. Like, it's really not that different. Like, compared to the old, like, it's not like the game is become 100 times better, 100 times worse because of this one change. And
Yeah.
also, it's probably one of the lesser important changes of the patch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the thing everybody's talking about. I don't know. It's just a little wild to me.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I take it as a more cinematic experience right now.
I think they will end up speeding up a few things if they can. But I don't think. I mean, I think they're going to leave. I think it's going to be more how it is now than it was before. Because they said before it was actually just like an error in the coding or something where all the animations were playing at once instead of in a sequence. So, I would get used to this. I think people will get over it pretty quickly, though.
Yeah, as they did to previous fonts. We are not saying that previous fonts were good, but like Boiling Frog, like, that's the sort of the analogy here. In terms of our first impressions, I think this covers it, unless you want to add something.
I'll just say I think this is the best patch by far, and
I mean,
it made me so far. Yeah, the next patch. He said the next patches will be smaller, but I mean, this is insane. Like, I can't believe how much better the game is. But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
I agree. So thank you, Reynard, again. I have a strong suspicion that you are watching those videos, but I know you will never admit to that. But yeah, if you are, thank you for a very good job. I guess that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. You know how that YouTube stuff works. So I'm not your mother. You know how to live your life. And we'll see you Thursday on Blake's channel. Bye!
See ya.